What's that got to do with this case?
That was Megan Boswell's dad. And if you aren't aware of what this trial is all about, let me give you a quick recap. We have Evelyn Boswell, baby Evelyn. The last time she was seen was December 6th of 2019. Now, what happens next is interesting. She's not seen, for the following weeks. She's not seen during Christmas. She's not seen during New Year's Eve. And her mother is being asked, where's baby Evelyn? Let's talk about the excuses that she gave to her dad. And this is who we're going to go into. Now, keep in mind, this is day 2, part 1. And this is her father that's on the stand. The one that reported baby Evelyn missing. Now, his name is Tommy Boswell. And they talk about the fact that Megan went to live with her grandparents. They have 11 acres. So his house is actually nearby the same property as his parents. So she would go back and forth. Now, they brought up the fact that she ended up in foster care. And he said yes, because her mother wouldn't take her to school. And I let them know that if she wanted to go with her mom, because they were divorced, and she didn't take her to school, they were going to pick her up, put her in foster care. But she was in foster care at 17. I'm not understanding that. She was in foster care, and what he would do is that he would communicate with the foster parents so that he could see her. He would then have her on the weekends, and at one point he did get full custody back. Now, mind you, she got pregnant being in foster care. So by the time she moved back with her father, Evelyn was a tiny baby. He was asked, did you take care of Megan? Like, did you help her? And he was like, yes, I paid for everything. He paid for her groceries because she did live with him, but also anything the baby needed, diapers, food, anything at all. He said, I gave her everything. And in fact, he ended up buying her a car and paid $20,000 cash for her car, gave her the title to make sure she had a car for the baby. She ended up moving to her grandparents' house for a short period of time, and they asked him why. And he said, well, I was remarried. I had 2 additional kids. My wife had another child, and she never wanted to clean up. Her room was horrible, and because of the fact that we were on her about cleaning up, she left. She got mad. Shortly thereafter that she moves to the grandparents' house, he shares that apparently they own a trailer park, or the family does. And so they gifted her a trailer for her to use for free. So she moved in there at the age of 18 with her child, and he paid again for everything. He said she didn't have to worry about electric, water, gas, food, anything. She paid for everything, or he did. He paid for everything in the house. However, he noticed that she wasn't staying there anymore. So when he asked her, hey, like, did you move out or anything? She was like, yeah, I don't live there anymore. Because she moved in with some boyfriend that she had met. And he was like, okay, well, if you don't live there, then you need to move all your stuff out because we need to rent the property. And he talks about the fact that when she starts dating this guy, he starts noticing that, I haven't seen Evelyn since Thanksgiving. And the weeks kind of passed by, and he would ask her, hey, where's baby Evelyn? Oh, she's here, she's there. However, they met him at Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, the boyfriend. And at Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, again, he's like, where is Evelyn? And she shares that the daughter wasn't there because she was with her dad, alleged father. Now, this is Ethan Perry, who is in the Army. So at this point, the prosecutor was like, well, what are your thoughts about that? And he said, I was happy for her. I thought that finally, she was going to have the help that she needed, that he was going to stand up. He then talks about the fact that she gave him a lot of excuses initially as to why he couldn't see the child. He said that the boyfriend's mother had the baby, was babysitting for them. Then she said, oh, yeah, he's with her dad, but he doesn't want to give him back. And the dad goes, absolutely not. I haven't seen that child in a couple weeks. What do you mean he's not giving him back? And she said, well, he wants to have custody. So he said, oh, he wants to have custody. We're going to call an attorney right now. I'm going to have them call. You need to call this person so we can start the process because I'm getting my granddaughter back. Keep in mind that was all a lie. And as I mentioned before, Ethan was in the Army. This accusation brought in the entire Army, etc., to do a full-blown investigation on Ethan, who was living in the barracks. And so then the defense comes in, and the defense came in hot. I don't know why the hell they try to be so mean to the dad. The defense come off with, oh, weren't you, convicted of assault in 2014 and then convicted of kidnapping? And that's when he said, what that got to do with the case? That's right, you tell him. He then brings up, he went from there, moved on to then say, well, there was a gate on the property, right? And he's like, yeah. He goes, but that gate, anybody can kind of walk around it, right? And he was like, yeah. He said, but you said that you saw your daughter, right, up delivering stuff and dropping off stuff at the, the little dollhouse that the grandmother or that the grandpa built for her. And so he said, well, first of all, she had a key fob in the car. So that car automatically opens that gate. He then said that particular day, my son had a seizure. So while, yes, I saw her car, I did not get to see her or speak to her because I was running to help my son. And so he said, so you're telling me that, if somebody drove her car, they would have access to the gate. And he was like, well, the key fob is in the car. But you didn't see her unload or load anything? He said, no, I didn't. He said, so I'm just confused. If you did all of this, right? If you didn't see anything, why would you automatically assume and call the police and say, what about this dollhouse? And he said, no, that is not what happened. I actually called and stated and actually told my wife to call because so he said his wife calls and says, hey, we saw her drop off some stuff in the storage unit. It wasn't intentional about the dollhouse or anything like that. He said, I had seen her after that back up to the dollhouse in another different day. And he said, well, why would you direct them to the dollhouse? And he said, I didn't direct anybody. I just told them different things that I noticed, and I genuinely thought there would be clues. I never in a million years would have thought my granddaughter was there, that her body was there. I tried to help with clues. And so at that point, it seemed like what the defense attorney wants to do is create doubt, reasonable doubt. Was it the grandfather? Because he was like, when they were searching the property, like, were you next to him the entire time? He was like, well, I kind of was there with them. And he said, but even the dogs, didn't they go by the dollhouse? He goes, no, the dogs never went by the dollhouse. The dog went by the water area. That's where they were looking. I don't know why. Lastly, he then goes, well, when was the last time you went to that dollhouse? And he said, it's been years. He then asked him, how many acres do you have? 11 acres. He said, well, isn't that dollhouse close to your mom's house where you visited? He goes, yeah. He goes, I go through the back because my mother cannot go up and downstairs. So I created an entrance through the back so she can enter much easily. At that point, he was done. Again, I think the whole purpose was to create reasonable doubt. This guy kept it together. The next post I'm going to have, I'm posted probably in the next 30 minutes, is the guy that cleaned the trailer. Talk to you soon. Part 2, and we're going to introduce here Austin Feller, our maintenance worker. Now, as I explained in the previous video, she was given a trailer essentially to live in by her dad. The family owns the entire trailer park. So he allowed her to live there. He then finds out she moved out and he's like, oh, wait a minute. If you moved in with another, with, I guess, a guy, her boyfriend at the time, he was like, you got to move your stuff out because I got to rent the property. This is Austin Feller. Austin is the person that was in charge of cleaning up the trailer when she moved out. Now, when they introduced him, he said that the reason he lived on the trailer park property is because he was an employee of the dad or the uncle, whatever. And he was told, look, if you live in one of these trailers, you can live rent-free as long as you help maintain them. He was fine with that. He was the maintenance worker. So he talks about the fact that the father calls him. So Megan's dad calls and says, hey, my daughter has moved out. Can you please go into the trailer and clean out whatever's left so that way we can go ahead and rent it quickly and do any updates that we need to do? He said, okay. However, when he went in there, he was definitely not expecting the conditions of this trailer. He said that this is what it looked like when you walked in. This is the kitchen area. And this was from the kitchen to the living room. And then this was, well, they couldn't say it was Megan's room. They couldn't say whose room belonged to who. Okay, so he pretty much stated that when he went in there, the smell was insane. Something he definitely did not expect at all. He stated that there were soiled diapers all over, and they had been soiled and left there for so long that they were completely attached to the carpet. He then stated that he could not even open the refrigerator because once he opened it, the smell and the stench was horrifying. There was trash absolutely everywhere. It was completely filthy from beginning to end. Food was left out, left everywhere. So at this point, he stated that they didn't have a choice. They had to wear masks to clean out the entire trailer. He then proceeds to load it up, and they took it to this dump area, dump truck, I guess, whatever. And that also they had to redo, he had to rip out the carpet because of the smell and because of how infested it was with the diapers. So they had to rip out the majority of the rugs, and he even had to put new floor down to be able to kind of eliminate the stench, all of that, before renting the trailer again. He then was interviewed by the defense, and the defense was like, why do you have these pictures? And he was like, because I took them and I had never, ever seen anything in this type of condition. So he goes, so you were just trying to take pictures so you could share with your friends and stuff? He goes, I was sharing with, oh my God, her father's name, which I just went blank, is his name Tommy. He said, I sent the pictures to Tommy because I needed Tommy to see and understand how the property was before and all the work we were going to have to do to bring it up to speed. And so at that point, the defense was like, okay, no further questions. Now, what was interesting about all of this is that Tommy was asked when he was on the stand, and Tommy literally covered for Megan, didn't say, he was like, well, they had to do some things to the trailer. All right, next, let's talk about CPS. This one was personally creepy to me, not him. He's sweet as pie. This is James Lewis, but the things that he says are really creepy. Let's talk about this. This is just part one, because part two I'll put in the next video, the CPS video. So he says that his job is to essentially, he gets these reports and he has to reach out to the person that did the report. That is Megan's father. Megan called stating that there was a child missing. I don't know if he called 911 or he called CPS. I'm still confused about that. But essentially it was given a CPS. So he then states that after that, they have to call other contacts that may know Megan and may know the child to get additional details, to kind of finalize all the information before they go to the home. He says that Megan, he located her, and keep in mind she's living with that new boyfriend. He says that when he arrived, there was police officers outside, and they asked him, like, what does the house look like? And he said it's a 2-story home with a basement, like a brand new house in a subdivision. Very well kept. He said that he let her know that he had received a report, or he received allegations, and started asking about Evelyn and saying, where's Evelyn? Like, a few people are concerned, and I would just like to see her to make sure that she's okay. And that's when she said, well, she's with her dad, with Ethan Perry. However, you can come in and, see inside, because he stated that she had no emotions, very nonchalant, as if there was zero concern for Evelyn. He then asked, that's why she allowed him in. He asked for evidence that a child had been there. You know, that the child had lived there. He said he went into the home and no safety concerns. The house looked completely clean. Clearly nothing like that trailer. And so he goes, well, I mean, can I see a crib, a pack and play? And she said they weren't in there and that they were kept somewhere else. And then she proceeded to take him to another room. In the other room, he proceeded to show her a new outfit that she had. So one outfit hanging in the closet. And he said it was a brand new outfit with tags still on. And this is where I said it was creepy. A memory box. Now, I know some of us keep our newborn stuff. I do. I have on, a lot of my baby stuff, all of them. However, this, he even said she went over the memory box with him. She kind of showed him a rattle and showed him the ornament with it was like a memory box. Okay. And then she proceeded to take him downstairs to show him a sippy cup. Y'all want to see this sippy cup? What 13-month-old is drinking out that sippy cup? Which, ma'am, that is not a sippy cup. That is a cup that a 4 or 5, 6, I don't even know. I mean, can you imagine the spilling? Anyways, that's what she did. He stated that at this point, his job was just to take photos, etc. in the second half. She is at the sheriff's station and they come into the room completely baffled. You can tell they're both kind of confused and they don't know what to do. So they come in and they let her know, hey, we spoke with Ethan Perry and he's stating he doesn't have her. Keep in mind that she has been telling her father that Ethan has had this baby for weeks, that he took her to court to take custody and that he got emergency custody and that now he doesn't want to give her back. And her father was like, absolutely not. I'm getting an attorney and all of this. So, of course, CPS, when they went to visit her the first time at her home, she was like, yeah, she's with her dad. Finally, they reach out to him. Keep in mind, he's in the Army. He lives in the barracks. So guess who also got involved? The Army. And they did a full-blown investigation. He didn't have baby Evelyn. So they walk into a room. They tell her that. And this is her response, literally. Keep in mind, her attitude is like, then I don't know what to tell you. He said he had it. I promise you he had her. And that's when they're like, when was the last time you spoke to him? Oh, I don't know. Whenever we talk on Messenger. And sometimes, I call him and I leave him a voicemail, but he never responds to me. She's like, so this entire time, you haven't spoken to Ethan? No. And where's her car seat? Ethan has the car seat. Because I was going to meet up with him and I was going to get her back. Okay. And at this point, one of the investigators was like, we need to find baby Evelyn. At this point, you could tell she's just baffled. And she's like, in the 20 years that I've been in, in this industry, I guess, or doing this job, I've never had a situation where someone, can't find their child. And you're telling me that he has her and he's saying he doesn't. So at that point, they're like, when was the last time he saw her? When was this, that, and the other? Everything she stated didn't make sense. She's saying, oh, no, he did. He had her. He saw her, during the holidays. And they're like, no, he's saying he didn't. I promise you he did. He saw her. And then they were like, okay, well, when did he leave with her? Well, he got her after January. So she puts up her documents. If you know military, holiday block leave usually ends the 1st or the 2nd of January. So she was like, well, he went back January 2nd to Louisiana. She's in Tennessee. She was like, I didn't even know he went back. Again, he lives in the barracks. Who got the baby? So at this point, she's not wanting to give any information, like any additional information. She's like, I promise you guys, I don't know what to do. I don't know where she's at. And it's insane because when the interview ended, it ended with her kind of smiling. Like, that's exactly where they put it at. I thought that was kind of hilarious. Or they wanted to make a point where she's very nonchalant. They then start asking questions about her boyfriend. Like, did the boyfriend not want her there? No, he's fine. He didn't care, Oh, okay. Well, how was he with the baby? Oh, no, he was fine. He was great. Oh, okay. And it was that she kept on talking about Ethan. She said that Ethan has talked about the fact that he wants nothing to do with her, the fact that he doesn't want anything to do with the baby, the fact that he keeps claiming he's not the father. So it was like all the attention and all the accusations were going to Ethan. I really think that because Ethan is part of the army, or is, in the army, that helped him because they got involved and they searched the barracks and they did this huge investigation that essentially supported all of his, information and didn't coordinate with the dates that she was talking about. So after that, goes back to our investigator. Again, James Lewis, he asked him, the prosecutor asked him, hey, if there was ever like an emergency case where, someone is claiming that they're going to want full custody, you have to go to court, and a case has already been open on that child, would you have been notified? He said 100%. We would have been notified. So again, another lie. And the defense really didn't have much to say other than, well, when you went to her house, she did have things of her daughter, yes, and a sippy cup, etc. Not much to say in reference to the defense. Let's go into the receptionist for the pediatrician's office, who is also the daughter of her foster parents. This is Casey Saltz, and she was the daughter, or is the daughter, of the foster parents that Megan had when she was in foster care. So she talks about the fact that Megan lived with them and that she had the baby while she was living with them. But she's also the receptionist at the pediatrician's office. So they talk about the fact that initially she brought her as expected, as a newborn, yada, yada. I mean, she never missed any appointments. There was never really any concerns, anything that stood out. She did state that one day Evelyn was dropped off with her aunt, and her aunt texted her and sent her a picture of a diaper rash with blisters and some scratches, etc. So she showed the picture to a nurse, and that the nurse was kind of giving her advice as to what to do. After that, keep in mind, baby Evelyn turns a year old right before she disappears. So, of course, if you have a baby, you've got the 12-month checkup because she needs shots. She missed that 12-month appointment. She texts her, or she calls her and says, hey, you missed the appointment. Are you coming? Where are you at? Oh, no, I'm at work. I'm so sorry. I thought it was for tomorrow. So she rescheduled it for tomorrow to accommodate her. Doesn't show up. She calls again. And she says, hey, I rescheduled you. Oh, I was called into work at 4 a.m. She goes, where do you work? At the chicken place. And I've been working from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that's why I couldn't take her. And she was like, well, I need to reschedule her, but I need to reschedule her for a day you're actually going to come. Time passes by, a few days, I guess. And she texts her. And she says, hey, can my dad or anybody else bring her? And they're like, yeah, as long as you give permission, that's fine. Okay. She goes, well, let me know. She didn't respond. And at that point, she says, hey, the pediatrician is a little concerned that she hasn't come in for her 1-year appointment because now she's going to get behind on her shots. And her response to her was, well, I've been working a lot of hours. I need to find another pediatrician that's close to me. Okay, that's fine. They completely understand that. So at this point, the prosecution asks her and says, if a child is taken to a different pediatrician, do they request for records to be sent? She goes, yes. And she asked her, were any records requested from another pediatrician? And she said, not that I'm aware of. The defense comes in and starts asking her, okay, during the time that she came in, did she miss any appointments? She was on top of it. Nope, she came in, she, had her appointments on time, etc. Did you guys ever see anything that was concerning bruising, anything that would, kind of show any type of abuse, because they do have to report it? And she said, no, not at all. So at that point, the defense kind of leaves it at that. She actually saw her, I believe right before her birthday, because she came to visit her house, and she had brought Evelyn. So, next witness. I'm going to do the next witness, which is Ethan Perry's grandfather, who testifies, as well as a pediatrician. We have a couple more people. Talk to you soon. Follow for more. All right, guys, this is day 2, part 4, and the next video will go into day 3. So day 2, part 4, if you aren't aware of what this case is about, Megan is currently facing charges for unaliving her daughter. According to reports, baby Evelyn disappeared December 6th, or at least her last time she was seen was December 6th in 2019, where her mother was 18 years old. Christmas passes. New Year's Eve passes. 150 excuses of where Evelyn is because everyone's asking. Finally, in February, her father, baby Evelyn's grandfather, said, I'm reporting her missing if you do not show up with baby Evelyn. Clearly she didn't. Unfortunately, early March, they did find her body on the grandfather's property in Megan's large dollhouse that was just filled with stuff. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to talk about the pediatrician. So pediatrician is Barbara Pugh. And Barbara simply testified that, she was Evelyn's pediatrician. No concerns and no issues. She did say that, she was born only 5 pounds and she was the daughter of a teen mom, 17. So that's always going to be considered high risk, but that she was always showing up for her appointments. You know how they have the wellness visits. However, the last time she saw her was in October of 2019, which she was 10 months and a half, I believe, because she was sick. That's all. Let's talk about grandfather Ethan Perry. So grandfather, and just to clarify, his name is not Ethan Perry. Remember, Ethan Perry is the alleged father. We find out later on he's not the father. But this is grandpa of Ethan, so great-grandfather of Evelyn. He shares that they were friends on Facebook, so he ended up finding out that his grandson had a child. He ended up befriending her on Facebook and would constantly see pictures and all of that posted, and, everything seemed good. He shares that in November, they actually meet up, I believe, at the local Cracker Barrel. She brought Evelyn, and he was there with his wife, so great-grandma. And everything was good. He saw baby Evelyn. She seemed very happy, very well taken care of. Same as Megan. Everything was good. Kosher. December rolls around. It's close to Christmas Day. So he reaches out to Megan and says, hey, I have Christmas presents for Evelyn. Can you bring her? He then finds out that his grandson is also going to be on leave from the army. So he reaches out to him and says, hey, I would love to see you. Please come and stop by. We're going to be here and we hope Evelyn is also, I'm asking if Evelyn could come. He said that he didn't state what time or anything like that. So he didn't expect them to come together. However, they did show up together without Evelyn. And when he asked where baby Evelyn was, he said, Megan stated that baby Evelyn was with her grandmother because she had the flu and he didn't want to make them sick. That was essentially the last time that he ever saw Evelyn. Defense stood up and asked about Facebook and, questions. Did she look happy? And did she look like a good mom? He goes, yeah, that's what I observed. She was a great mom. She, her daughter was very much cared for. Did you suspect that she was abusing the child? He said, no, not at all. Did it seem that she loved her child and was being cared for? Yes. Defense at that point moves on. Let's talk to Stephen Lawrence. I don't even know why this man was on the stand. Stephen Lawrence's sister was friends with Megan, but she passed, okay? So he's known her also for years, and he said that the last time he saw her was on December 8th of 2019. He owns apparently an apartment building, and after his sister passed away, he had made the decision to name that building after the sister. So she actually stopped by to see the apartment, and they asked him if she had Evelyn, and he said no, that when he asked about Evelyn, she said that Evelyn was with her daddy, Ethan. And that was it. Then on February 25 of 2020, at this point, Evelyn has been, reported missing. She reaches out to him seeking help. And he said, look, I will help you however I can. So how did he help? He picked her up and took her to the county sheriff's office to speak with detectives. Again, wow. Okay. This is Audrey Gibbs, and this is her longtime friend since 7th grade. She was on there distraught. Clearly more distraught than Megan this entire time. So She spent a lot of time with Megan and Evelyn. She said she visited her almost daily and Evelyn was always there. They took trips together that included Evelyn. They, asked her if there's anything that stood out to her. She said, well, I sometimes noticed that hours would go by and she wouldn't change Evelyn's diaper. So I would say, hey, she needed to have her diaper changed. And she did say that one time she saw that baby Evelyn was not buckled into the car seat. So she shared with her, hey, like, you need to buckle your child. Fast forward to December 9th, she had a baby. So on December 9th, both Megan and their other friend who testifies next, Bailey, go to visit her in the hospital. And she said that baby Evelyn was not there, which was very surprising. Again, she always said baby Evelyn was always with her. So she said that she noticed that Evelyn was not there and that Megan was completely out of sorts. While she's telling her the birth story, she said that Megan kept saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, instead of being able to kind of sustain a normal conversation. She at that point asked her where Evelyn was, and she said she didn't remember who she told her she was with, but that she found it to be awkward or different because she rarely could get a babysitter for her. After that, they would continue messaging because she moved away. So they would continue messaging and she always asked about Evelyn. And it got to the point where she was like, well, she's with Ethan. And she was like, oh my God, okay, well, I really want our babies to meet, because that was the entire thing, is that they were going to be besties. So she's in town and she says, hey, can I, like, when can we meet up or whatever? And she says, oh, but she's with Ethan, but I can come tonight. And at that point, she was like, well, I can't because I'm at my aunt's. Megan goes, well, can I see you in a couple weeks? Well, that wasn't going to work out because she was already going to be back to the home that she was in with her baby and her father, and her baby's father. Let's see. That, I believe, was it. And then there was another text thread introduced, and I don't know the dates. But in that text, she stated, Megan told this one that she was pregnant. Last time she saw Evelyn was October 31st. Lord have mercy. This one took forever. Jesus. I mean, we went over 3,279 text messages, half of them unnecessary. She could have just wrapped it up. I mean, she could have summed it up for all of us. Could have been an email. This is Bailey Hawkins, who is our longtime friend. Both of these girls, you could tell, like, they were emotionally distraught for this baby. Again, more than Megan. So she talks about the fact that they were always seeing each other once or twice per week. And Megan always had Evelyn, period. And this part, or this particular testimony, in my opinion, is really important because this is when Megan gets a new job. And she meets Hunter, which is the guy, I guess, whose father owns where she works and she's with all the time. And supposedly that's when, Evelyn disappeared. So she talks about the fact that November they went multiple times to Speedway Lights, again with Evelyn and Megan, and that she started working at the beginning of December at a place called Chicken Shack. And Evelyn supposedly would stay with the grandma because Megan was always working. So there's text messages, and pretty much Megan is saying, oh yeah, I came in at 4:30. I didn't really need to, but they like me a lot. So I come and I'm here, since 4:30 to sometimes 10 o'clock. And she's like, oh my God, well, where's Evelyn? Oh, well, she's staying the next couple of nights with my mom or with her grandmother, yada, yada. It was always an excuse of where Evelyn was. And again, she's constantly with Hunter, as if she doesn't have a child, as if that child no longer exists. She would be at the Chicken Shack all the time, even talked about going to church with them. Practically, they had become her family, and Evelyn was no longer in the picture. There were text messages where she then said that she was taken to emergency court, and that at the beginning she had lost all custody, and then they have half and half custody. She was very upset at the beginning, but then after that, she was kind of living her life. Tomorrow, or in the next video, I'll continue for second part and day 3.
At 4:45 p.m., what do you say to Megan?
So please send pictures of Evelyn. I miss her.
And what does Megan say to you?
I will in a second.
Okay. Did Megan send pictures of Evelyn that day?
No.
Bailey, do you need a minute? Okay.
That was Bailey Hawkins, one of Megan's closest friends. And as you can tell, she loved Evelyn dearly. Now, this is going to be the end of day 2 and beginning of day 3 because she actually ended day 2 and day 3 started with her. Now, this is Tennessee versus Megan Boswell. I'm going to give you a quick recap. The last time baby Evelyn was seen was December 6th of 2019. When her mom was asked, like, where is she? Because she wasn't around for Christmas, New Year's Eve, all of that. Family members and friends are concerned and worried. She had 3,227 excuses. And, well, all of them were lies. Finally, her father, the grandfather of baby Evelyn, stated, if you do not show me my granddaughter, I am going to call the police and report her missing. And that's when all of this began. Unfortunately, Evelyn's body was found early March on grandfather's property in a dollhouse that used to be Megan's, that was built by Megan's grandfather. Now, let's continue with Bailey's testimony. As I broke down for you guys, they were constantly texting, and it got to a point where she didn't see pictures of Evelyn at all listed online or anything like that. And she would constantly ask, Megan, how is Evelyn? Now, that video that you just saw was on December 23rd, where at this point, it had been weeks since she saw Evelyn. And so she asked her for pictures of Evelyn. The text messages between them was, hey, how is she? Oh, she's with her father. Oh, great. Can I see her this day? You could tell she was constantly trying to see her. And she kept telling her, oh, he's got her. He's got emergency custody, yada, yada. December 23rd was that video or that conversation where she's asking for pictures of Evelyn and she's telling her, okay, I'll send them to you. She never did. She found out through Facebook that she was missing. Okay? No one told her anything. Now, in the text messages between them, she told her that Ethan, which was the alleged father, took her to court for custody. And she asked her on January 9th, hey, did you already go to court? She was like, no, tomorrow. She's still with Ethan. And she goes, how can he even have custody if he's in the army? She goes, I don't know. He won't speak to me. January 20th rolls around. They go to out. And again, Evelyn's not with her. January 24th, she receives a text message saying that she's pregnant and that she's hoping for a boy. And so the friend goes, speaking of small humans, how is Evelyn? And she goes, she's good. She's mean AF. And so she goes, I want to see her. And she said picking her up, I think it was next week, whatever. She goes, she changes back to the subject of her pregnancy. I'll fight Hunter if it's a girl because I want a boy. And so her friend goes, boys would be nice because then you'd have both. January 29th. Do you still have Evelyn? Because, she had told her she was going to get her. Well, my grandma has her right now. Will you have Evelyn later? Because she hadn't seen her. Yes, I'm going to have her later. At this point, she tells the prosecutor that she was starting to feel concerned because things were starting to feel off. And she thought about reporting her to DCF. She said she went from being straightforward to constantly vague answers. Pictures, posting on Facebook, all of that was gone. Only talked about Evelyn if she asked about Evelyn. So she thought about calling DCF, but she started crying again. And she said she was such a good friend to me that I didn't want to do that to her. February 22nd is when she finds out that Evelyn is missing. So February 22nd at 2:40 a.m., she says, upset, that Ethan doesn't have her, who, you said he had her. What's going on? Let's look at these text messages. And again, look at the time of this. This is literally when she realized what was happening and she tried to continue to reach out with her. Do you think Evelyn is okay, or do you think this person would do something to her? She had initially texted her, whoever you gave her to, because she was being vague, I really hope they bring him back to you. And she said, yeah, me too. I really hope that too, but I couldn't tell anyone because I was worried that they were going to hurt us. I don't know where the hell she came up with that one. Okay. So then she goes, God, that makes me worried because it seems like she's the person that would have had Evelyn. And if she doesn't have her, then where would she be? I'm hoping that person isn't your mom, because you guys just don't get why she take Evelyn and wouldn't let you see her, because I never saw her. Are you and Hunter okay? Because everything he's saying on the news is false. She goes, what do you mean everything is okay? And, let me show you guys the next text. But at the end, she's talking about he got threats at work because of everything. He said y'all weren't serious and that you guys were on and off. You never told me you guys were on and off, and I thought you guys were pretty serious. We were definitely living together and shit, but he did that so people stopped giving him death threats and whatever. Are you guys okay, though? Is he being, is he supporting you through this, or are you guys not in contact? Did he ever see Evelyn? I know at the beginning he never saw her because you wouldn't let him, but after that, did he get to meet her? I'm not getting into that for Hunter's sake. Well, when is the last time that you saw Evelyn? I'm not getting into that. Oh, no, she goes, I can't disclose that either. The police are saying that the babysitter saw her last on December 10th. Did you see her on the 26th, like in the original Amber Alert and everything? I can't discuss that. I just hate that I'm a bystander like everyone else when I used to see Evelyn every single day, and now you can't say anything until the media does. Where are you, my dads? So again, Evelyn is that friend that's trying to help her out, wants to know what's going on. She loves Evelyn, and she's completely confused of all the back and forth. She even ends up taking her to an Econo Lodge and registering her in her name, so using her name so that nobody knew she was there, because she apparently just needed a break from everything, and she dropped her off and left. Then the defense asked her, okay, Evelyn appeared to be concerned or anything like that. Actually, the prosecution asked her that, and she said, not really, no. So the defense at that point asked, did you ever see her spank her? Did you ever see her not take care of her? Yada, yada, no. I mean, the facts are that prior to December, before she started working, everyone says the same thing. She was an amazing mom. That little girl was always with her, always taken care of. All of a sudden, she starts working, she meets Hunter, and everything changes. Let's go to the next friend that doesn't like her. This right here, y'all, is Caitlin Carter. She says she used to be friends with her. Now, before I jump into her, I just want to say the lady from Econo Lodge testified that she had been there multiple times, that she mentioned her daughter one time, and she said that her daughter was with her dad. Okay, so Caitlin Carter stated that, she saw Evelyn multiple times. She was always with Megan. And that after she finished her school exams at the end of November, beginning of December, Megan offered to take her out to eat to celebrate that she had finished her exams. So that at that point, they went to Chili's. And the prosecutor stated, did you notice anything about Evelyn? And she said she was dirty. And I could smell her across the table. Face, hands, and clothes were dirty. And she said she was surprised because prior to that, again, everything was fine. And that a couple of weeks after that is when she started working at the chicken shack, and that she quickly noticed that she no longer spent time with Evelyn. In fact, was always with Hunter. She said that it was strange that she stopped doing things with her daughter. In fact, this is a picture of her and Hunter at the aquarium, and Evelyn was nowhere to be found. She stated again that Ethan got emergency custody, that, he had her, but she never seemed upset. She never, she was perfectly fine. Defense asked her prior to this, how was Evelyn taken care of? She goes, perfectly fine. No neglect, no abuse. And the friendship ended because she didn't reach out to her for over a month. I'm going to go into day 3, part 2 shortly.